you look at the difference that Piatek has made. He's scored 7 goals in just 6 games. His predecessor, of course, was Gonzalo Higuain, who managed 9 in fully 24. Gab Marcotti was watching this. Things going swimmingly for the Rossoneri at the moment.
Yeah, look, I mean, Piatek's had a tremendous impact. It's not just him, it's Paqueta as well. People thought, oh my God, how long will it take him to go and contribute? He's come on nicely. Çalhanoğlu scoring again and contributing. And I think in some ways, one guy who deserves a lot of credit is Bakayoko, coming off a nightmare season last year at Chelsea. Really struggled at first at Milan. I think weren't quite sure what sort of player he was. He's come on in leaps and bounds over the last sort of 6 to 8 weeks. Lucas Biglia is fit again. He came on at the end of this game against Empoli. The defense is really good. We saw Conti fit again, provide an assist as well. So things are coming together nicely for Milan. And remember, they're competitors for that top 4 spot. Inter and Roma still involved in Europe as well. And I think that could be a factor too.
Well, that's aggressive.
I hope someone's just switched on.
I've just cut it at that point. This isn't actually...
It's not a pocket square.
It's the inside of the bucket. It's the inside of the pocket.
You know, to take the mickey out of the likes of you with a stupid pint thing, and him, oh, sitting with your daft thingies.
Friday, is it Shaqy turned 50?
In the 40s.
Yes. 40s.
Mid-40s-ish.
Who's the old man over there?
I want to get a painting of myself. Is that weird?
Yes, that is weird.
Maybe dressed in, I don't know, some sort of medieval garb or
Riding a
like
horse?
spacemen
Maybe
from the
riding a
future.
horse with a shield or something?
Or riding a horse. Yes.
A lot of people don't like him in Brazil. I can say that. A lot of my Brazilian family don't like me.
You and him have a lot in common, apparently.
Oh, yes.
Wow. Yes.
Would everybody please fasten your seatbelts? The captain's speaking.
Hey, you're looking at 2 athletes here. Tell you that.
You're both at the gym today.
It's not the Olympic. No. It's not the one with the arms and it's just the one with the legs. Yeah. No headphones.
No.
Just slogging away.
I need headphones.
So when people come in, I'm like, in the door. I'm never watching that ESPN FC again. They don't take it serious. Fools. There's never any analysis on there.
There's 4 defenders in the box. He turned like a tugboat and then back-heeled it. He threw his leg away up there and back-heeled it. I mean, it was a complete and utter pub league.
Let me see.
He just went like that.
You don't even need to see the goal now. You've pretty much seen it.
It's rubbish.
Is it a pre-turning 50 thing?
No.
Is it?
I'm running a 5K next weekend.
We got a target time?
Nope. I have a target distance.
Stevie, you're glass half full in this scenario.
Huh? Depends which glass I'm drinking out of.
What?
I usually go 2-handed. This cup says, you know what? We didn't lose a goal at home.
Which cup are you drinking?
Yeah.
I can do scripted boring. I can read off a prompter. If somebody starts putting stuff down that prompter, I'll read off it. Stephen said to the makeup girl,
I was making polite conversation.
is there a difference in calories between bread and toast?
Did you think this toast maybe burnt some of the calories?
Yeah, burnt some off. It's not giving bread up. Is it any less calorific? Any less calorific once it comes out the toaster? We're arguing about how hard the push was at full speed, and we don't know that. I mean, we're presuming because we know the players, the modern day players, and some of the older ones.
What's that?
Will go down. See how I try to just stay on the right, right side.
I'm going to move on. I can see HR peering through the
Hello. I'll be up later. Hopefully not.
Hopefully not.
Don't want to be seeing HR.
It's always a question of when that's going to happen and not if. After
Stay on side. Stay on side. End the runs.
We will address many more of these topics on our podcast, which is actually exactly the same as our daily show, isn't it?
Funny that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's funny, yeah. It's in case you missed the video edition of the show, get the audio version, iTunes or ESPNFC.com, the place to go. You know who's been really, really good of late? Raheem Sterling, who's had his run-ins, hasn't he, with the English papers in recent times. He was
on the back pages for all the right reasons. Of course, Sterling reacting via Twitter. Nice headlines. Going to make a screenshot of these because they might not happen again soon. He has been in terrific. I know, Craig, you've always been an admirer of it. Stevie, I know you had questions earlier on in his career, but what's changed for Raheem Sterling?
I've got to say that when he left Liverpool, I was one of his biggest critics. Not because of his ability, but the way he went about it more than anything else. And I'd have to say now, this guy has completely turned me around. I mean, on the field, he's been sensational, nothing short of sensational. But off the field, when he talks and he explains the way he plays the game now, the way that City want to play the game, there's a completely different maturity about him. You know, he says all the right things. He never once mentions himself. It's always his teammates or his manager, or it's just never him. He never tries to pat himself on the back. I mean, this is not the same guy that was at and left Liverpool.
When he left Liverpool, he could play one position, wide. Now he can play wide, both sides. He can play in off the wing and behind the front man, or he can play through the front man on his own. Every facet of his game has got better.
So it's the first major domestic final of the season. Sunday, the Carabao Cup final, Manchester City and Chelsea. Steve Nicol, Craig Burley with me. City beat Chelsea 6-0 just a couple of weeks ago. Does that play into the mentality ahead of this final, do you think? In either direction?
Listen, the fact that it's a final, I think, changes it slightly. You know, when you walk out at Wembley, it does something to you. And regardless of whether you lost to the opposition 6-0 previously, you feel as though you're on kind of level terms. You know how good they are, but you feel as though you can win this game. So, if you're a City player, yes, you're going to take heart that you've just battered this lot 6-0, but Chelsea will put that to the side and try and figure out that they can win this game.
Yeah. I mean, the pressure's... I mean, it's a cup final, but the pressure's on because of the pounding they took.
Yep.
You also think back to these two teams met at Wembley in the Community Shield at the start of the season.
Yep.
It didn't go particularly well for Chelsea on that occasion either, and that was a weakened Manchester City side. Sarri's been, no matter whether they beat Malmo or not, as they did, Sarri doesn't seem to be talking with any great sense at the moment, and we know he'll probably play the same personnel in the same formation. So, unless City have a really bad day, it's hard to put an argument forward for a Chelsea win, unless City have an off day, really, on current form.
How do you see it going? Because City, actually, for all they've done in the last decade, have never actually retained a trophy. They are the holders of this. They won last year. They've won 3 of the last 5. Are they going to do it on Sunday?
It's very difficult to sit here and come up with a reason why they won't. You know, if they play the way they can. In fact, if they're below the level that we know they can reach, they can still beat Chelsea. So it's very difficult to come up with an argument for Chelsea. I just don't see how Chelsea win this.
Sarri really needs it, though, doesn't he, for Chelsea?
Oh, absolutely. He's potentially one game away from being out, and if it's a scoreline like the Etihad, I think he will be out. His team have to show something that's going to give the owners encouragement, or the owner encouragement going forward, and another pasting won't do it. But as Stevie said, you know, City are going to have a bad day at the office, I think, for Chelsea to get anything out of this game, because they're much the better squad, much more talented, and they're in form.
City will be hoping it's the first step on a journey towards a quadruple. City and Chelsea, you can see the Carabao Cup final on ESPN Plus on Sunday. So today we're actually going to do extra time as opposed to yesterday when we didn't. So that means we have to do double extra time. No?
Not in the contract.
No. That's been decided.
It's not my fault. You lot overran yesterday. Right? So.
I'd like to point out it wasn't actually our fault either, but I know
his fault it is, and he's only just back.
That will fall on deaf ears. It wasn't Gab Marcotti's fault, I can tell you that. And Gab, the first question is directed in your direction from Mike. Will Gab ever admit he's wrong about Sarri? Also, pineapple is a top 3 pizza topping, he adds, which I would dispute. But let's go back to the first part of that question. Will you ever admit you're wrong?
What was I wrong about?
Sarri, apparently. Just Sarri in general, says Mike.
No, I think I was extremely right. I told you He's not going to change. This is how he sees football. And if it doesn't work out, he's going to go. I mean, I think it's as simple as that. And people can go and say, oh, look, you know, Ali Moreno can go and tweet his minions and stuff. But what I told you, actually, on this occasion, I think I was right. I told you, he's not going to change. He's not a pragmatist. We saw this last year. Zielinski for Hamsik was last year's version of Barkley for Kovacic and vice versa. This is what he does. It's worked for him in the past. This is what he believes in. The club wanted this when they brought him in, and he's got minimum targets, and if he doesn't hit them, he's going to be sacked. I don't see what there is to be wrong about.
Well, but never mind that. What about the
Maybe
pizza?
you'd like to explain.
Hey, never mind that.
The only trouble is
I think we're unanimous on the pizza, Stevie.
Fair enough.
I mean, you probably don't eat pizza, but
I don't know.
I don't really want to.
if you did, you wouldn't have pineapple on it, right?
He doesn't eat pizza.
No. Sausage.
He'd have mince on it, mince and tatties on a pizza. I don't really want to get into the Sarri stuff too much because I've kind of been over it. But the one thing I would say in making
the bottom goes.
No. The one thing I would say
just briefly
on the substitutions. It's kind of the only thing is when you're making like for like substitutions every week, people notice it but don't take too much notice if you like when you're winning or when you're having a good season. As Napoli pretty much did last year, but it's only when you're having a tough time and your team's having a tough time that then people really start to look at it and say, what the hell are you doing? So it's, you know, I understand that's what he does, but unfortunately when you're in a bit of a pickle, as they are at the moment, certainly in England, then people will put bigger eyes on you.
All right, the vague segue into the next
Anybody
question.
who puts pineapple on a pizza should be
it's
thrown
just
out of a restaurant.
It's being beyond Sarri levels of stubbornness, isn't it? Dan Thomas, I think, puts
oh, well, see, that doesn't surprise me because he just... You're talking about a man...
I've never been in a restaurant that sells pineapple on the pizza.
Oh, it's there, Hawaiian pizza.
I was saying to him the other night when he was on, I said, he's the kind of guy, he gravitates to eateries that are for 13, 14-year-olds.
Who's this?
Dan.
Oh, Dan,
Right, he gravitates to those where the kids will hang out. That's not where my daughter's 15. That's the kind of place she went to, but I won't name it. She went to a place last night near us, and it's where the kids go. Yeah. That's the kind of place he's to be seen. Big fast foodish,
well, it fits
bit
because he
casual.
looks 13 or 14.
A cheap, nice diner, milkshake.
Kind of dinerish, very cheap, large portions. That's Dan Thomas. Guaranteed.
In a nutshell. All right.
In a nutshell.
The vague segue was Premier League imports into the next question. If you could only pick one, who would you have in your team? I like this: Gianfranco Zola, Dennis Bergkamp, or Eric Cantona. If you could only have one of those.
Well, I played with one of them in Gianfranco Zola, and he was.
Probably played against the other two, didn't you?
Who was the other two?
Bergkamp and Cantona.
I did. Zola was. They were all amazing talent. I don't know.
You've got to pick one of them to start a team with. Stevie, while he's thinking about it,
I was actually thinking Bergkamp, but then
I would go Bergkamp.
But then I think, what about Cantona's genius and what about Zola's ability to turn the game from, whether it be set pieces? I don't know.
Yeah.
Help me out.
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
Yeah. Gab, who would you go for out of those three?
I mean, it's impossible.
I mean, if I could, I would have picked Thierry Henry, but I can't. If you factor longevity in there as well, I would probably, of those three, I'd probably lean Dennis Bergkamp, simply because, you know, it would have been fascinating to see Cantona arrive in the Premier League, and Zola for that matter, if both of those guys had arrived when they were much younger, and, you know, they would have really found the right environment much younger, because obviously Cantona had a whole career before he came to England, but it was really only, I mean, he won the title with Leeds, but that was what it was. But it was really only United that he flourished, and even then, you know, we got what, 5 years of it, 6 years of it maybe? You know, can you imagine if he'd been here with Sir Alex from the age of 20, say?
I would say Bergkamp as well for longevity. I was swinging that way, but I just...
It gets you extra brownie points with producer Pete as well if you pick Bergkamp out of these.
The only reason Zola aged is because when he got there, he realised he was playing in front of me. It's never a good sign when you pitch up.
Well, we're talking about the glory years, Stevie. Which modern-day defender best resembles you in your peak playing days? Us, the Tesper guy.
Well, there's no gingers, so no.
No. Gab?
Nobody with ginger here.
Maybe we shouldn't ask Stevie this. Maybe we should ask Gab and,
Try to think of something.
and Craig. Which modern-day defender most resembles Stevie in his pomp?
You know what? I was actually, when you said that, I feared that you'd be coming towards me. And while, no disrespect, Stevie, but the bulk of Stevie's career was slightly before my time, Stevie really wasn't just a defender. He played multiple roles. You know, at a time when you had a lot of right backs or full backs in general, who basically just kind of did the one thing. They just kind of defended, or they sort of trundled down the line, overlapped, and put in crosses. You know, Stevie played fullback the way a right-sided, the way a midfielder would, really. You know, and certainly at Liverpool, I thought, and correct, feel free to stop me if I'm wrong here, Stevie. I thought also because he played for such a dominant team, where he had so many great players around him, that also perhaps made it easier.
Sounds like you're describing Philip Lahm there, Gab. Are you describing Philip Lahm?
He got that right, because when you want to go forward, you can't just run forward willy-nilly. Yeah. You know, you've got to have confidence that you're not going to lose the ball.
Yeah.
So, you know, particularly with a John Barnes in front of me, or a Ray Houghton on the other side, you can give them the ball and then go around them, knowing that they're not going to give it away, and there's not going to be a big hole left. So, Gab's kind of right in that way, that because of the teams I played with, or the Liverpool teams that I played with, I could afford to get forward more often because I knew the ball wasn't going to be lost and I'd be stranded up the field.
Again, Philip Lahm is the one I'd come back to. Different positions, right back, midfield.
I'll take that any day of the week.
I guess he's not even a modern-day footballer anymore, is he? But he was.
Oh, he's an old geezer now.
Pretty recently.
He's an old geezer now like the rest is.
When is the ESPN FC crew going to have a separate, explicit podcast? Asked Ricardo. Can't stand the political correctness. Trying to get Steve and Craig to rant about sorry ball after a few pints. I think there's a question in there.
No, I think there's a bit of...
Aye, that would be...
I think there's a bit of irony in there.
Yeah.
Because we do get pretty explicit within broadcasting guidelines.
Right.
Of course.
But I think Ricardo would like that to go to the next logical stage.
Oh, and then tape it.
Beyond broadcasting.
Yeah.
Beyond broadcasting guidelines. You know?
I think we pretty much put ourselves out there more than most.
Right. I wouldn't say you hold back too much. Maybe
holding back is not
maybe
make-up.
A bit of fruity language really wouldn't add that much to the...
Well, you'd know that.
the proceedings. All right, should we call it a day?
Try not to swear on air.
Yeah, try not.
Try.
We do try, yes. It's not always easy.
Obvious reasons.
Sometimes you have to catch yourself
Done
right.
pretty well at it so far. We've done pretty well at it so far.
And we will continue trying not to do that on tomorrow's show. Remember, ESPN FC available every day on Plus.